The sky above the research station looked calm, but Arden felt something was wrong. The screens in front of him showed a very large object moving slowly through the darkness of space. It had no shadow, no clear shape, and no normal signature. It was almost like the object was fading in and out of time, appearing for 1 second and disappearing the next. The station engineers whispered to each other, unsure if the signal was even real. But Arden watched carefully. Something about it felt alive. The scanners tried to read the object again, and this time the image became clear. It looked like a creature with wings shaped like curved metal. Its long body shimmered with soft light, like starlight trapped inside crystal. It was not a ship. It was not a machine. It was something older, something that did not belong to any known species. The creature slowed down as it approached the station. Its movement was gentle, almost careful, as if it was afraid to break something fragile. The communication screen flashed with a new message. It was not a voice. It was not words. It was just a soft sound like a dry breath carried across the void. Arden leaned closer. "Try translating that," he said. The station AI processed the sound. After a few moments, a voice formed, weak, shaking, and filled with exhaustion. The entire control room froze when the translated message appeared. I seek water, please." No one spoke. No one moved. A creature the size of a small mountain was begging. Not demanding. Not threatening. Begging. The engineers looked at Arden for orders, but he did not answer yet. He watched the creature glide closer. Its wings did not flap. Its body did not pulse with engines. It simply drifted as if it had floated through the universe for a very long time. When it stopped near the observation window, Arden could finally see its eyes. They glowed softly like old lanterns in the dark. They did not look dangerous. They looked tired, deeply tired. Arden stepped forward and placed his hand on the glass. The creature turned its head slightly as if it sensed the small gesture. The weak voice echoed again. "I mean no harm. I am Valor. I am very old. I am very thirsty." The scientists around Arden whispered in confusion. How could something this large survive? Why did it need water? How long had it been traveling? And why did it look like a dragon from old tales? Arden asked the translators, "Is it sure this message is not a trap?" The AI answered instantly. "No signs of hostility. No weapon signals. Life signs extremely weak." Arden looked at Valor again. The creature's scales were cracked. Dim light leaked from the brakes like dying coals. Even from inside the station he could sense how cold and empty the creature felt. It had the presence of something forgotten by the stars themselves. Arden pressed the calm button. His voice was slow and careful. "Valor, you are safe here. But we do not understand. Why water? Why come to us?" The creature lowered its head. A soft glow moved along its throat, but instead of fire only a faint whisper came out. "My home died. My people died. I drifted alone. A drink of pure water can calm the burning inside me. I ask only for one drink. Nothing more." Arden felt a strange ache in his chest. This massive ancient being had traveled through time and space, not for power or destruction but for a simple drink. Basic need. A small mercy. The team waited for Arden's command. He thought for a long moment. This was not a threat. This was not an enemy. It was a traveler who had reached the end of its strength. Arden turned to his crew. "Prepare a small sample. He asked for only a drink, so we give it." The engineers hesitated. One of them asked, "Commander, are you sure? What if this creature is dangerous?" Arden looked back at Valor. The dragon-like being floated in silence, wings folded close, eyes soft and dim. There was no anger. No pride. Only need. "If a great creature can lower its head and ask for help," Arden said, "then we can offer at least a drop." He walked to the lower deck and watched as a small vessel carried a container of pure, natural water out into space. The container floated toward Valor. The creature reached out with claws as gentle as a falling leaf. It held the container like a fragile treasure. For the first time Valor spoke with a voice that sounded almost alive. "Thank you." The soft light inside his body flickered, but it did not grow stronger. Not yet. But Arden could feel it. Something important had just happened. Something that would change humanity and this creature forever. The quiet moment ended with a final whisper from Valor. "I was forgotten by time, but you heard me." The small vessel drifted back toward the station, and every human inside watched in silence, realizing they had just met something older than their entire history, something that needed them more than they ever expected. Arden stood inside the quiet command room, watching the soft glow around Valor fade in and out like a weak heartbeat. The small drink of water had not harmed Earth, and it had not restored the creature either. It was only enough to keep him alive a little longer. The engineers recorded every signal, every change in energy, and every shift in Vaylor's glowing scales. No one spoke loudly. No one made sudden movements. Everyone felt as if they were standing beside something ancient and fragile. Vaylor floated outside the station window, his wings drifting slightly as if he were too tired to hold them steady. His long tail moved very slowly, like a heavy rope pulled by the current of space. Arden watched him with growing concern. The creature's body looked weaker now that the water had reached it. The tiny drink had cooled a part of him, but most of his core still glowed with unstable heat. The AI spoke quietly to Arden. "Commander, his energy levels are falling again." Arden whispered, "Ask him if he is in pain." The translator sent the message. After a moment, Vaylor answered, his voice thin and cold. "Pain is not new to me. I have carried it for a long time." Arden felt the weight of those words. The creature did not sound angry or afraid. He sounded tired, like someone who had walked too far for too many years. Arden asked, "What happened to you, Vaylor? Why is your body burning from inside? What caused this thirst?" Vaylor moved closer to the window. His eyes glowed faintly as he spoke. "My kind were born near stars that we lived on young planets, drank their waters and cooled our burning hearts. We were part of the balance of worlds. But the stars we lived near grew unstable. Our worlds burned." Arden listened carefully. The creature was not describing a war. He was describing a disaster too big for any species to stop. "My people tried to escape," Vaylor continued. "Many died in the storm of light. I fell into a time rift when my world collapsed. I drifted through time, through silence, for thousands of years. I woke again to an empty universe. No home. No kin. Only fire inside me that has no place to rest." Arden felt his throat tighten. He looked at the engineers and all of them shared the same quiet shock. This creature was not a threat. He was a survivor of something unimaginable. Arden asked softly, "How long can you live like this, Vaylor?" Vaylor's body flickered again. Cracks along his wings glowed brighter for a second before dimming. "Not long. Without a stronger drink of pure water, my inner flame will consume me. I will fade into dust." The room fell silent. Arden understood how serious this was. Vaylor did not need oceans, but he clearly needed more than a single cup to keep living. The question was simple yet heavy. Could humanity help without risking their own world? The engineers gathered around Arden with their reports. One of them, a young scientist named Ryan, spoke quickly. "Commander, we studied the water reaction inside Vaylor. He doesn't absorb much. He only needs a very small amount to stabilize his core. Maybe a liter, not more." Arden turned to him. "Are you sure?" Ryan nodded. "Yes, sir. He is not like a machine. His body cools slowly. A small amount is enough." Arden looked relieved, but not all of the team felt the same. Another scientist said, "Commander, helping him is a moral choice. But what if his species returns later? What if they want more?" Arden shook his head. "We cannot judge a dying creature by what others may do in the future. He asked for only a drink. Nothing more." Outside the window, Vaylor curled slightly in the empty space as if trying to protect his fading heat. His wings folded close. His body dimmed again. Arden could almost feel the cold loneliness around him. Arden walked to the communicator. "Vaylor, we want to help you. Tell us exactly what you need." Vaylor's golden eyes lifted slowly. "A drink of natural water, clean and untouched. Enough to cool the burning star inside me. But I do not want to harm your world." Arden smiled softly. "You won't. We will bring you what you need." For the first time, Vaylor's voice carried a hint of emotion. Not joy. Not relief. But something warmer than fear. "You honor me, humans." The engineering team prepared a larger container, filled with clean water from the station's reserves. It was not taken from Earth's oceans. It was safe. Arden insisted on joining the transport shuttle himself. When the shuttle moved toward Vaylor, Arden felt a strange calmness. He floated near the window and looked at the massive creature waiting in silence. Vaylor's head lifted gently as the shuttle approached. He did not open his mouth like a beast. He opened a small core chamber near his throat, shaped like a glowing orb. Arden released the container. Vaylor caught it carefully as if holding something precious and fragile. The water poured into the core chamber. Light spread through Vaylor's body like warm fire moving through dry wood. The cracks along his wings softened. His glowing lines brightened. He seemed to breathe deeper. Arden watched in awe. Valor was not turning into something dangerous. He was returning to life. Valor's voice reached him, clearer than before. You do not know how long I have waited to feel this peace again. Arden smiled. We are glad to help. Valor looked at him with grateful eyes. For a moment, the ancient creature looked less like a dying star dragon and more like a traveler who finally found a resting place after a long, painful journey. Thank you, Arden, he whispered. The shuttle returned to the station. Everyone watched Valor, glowing gently in the dark, alive but still weak. He was not healed, but he was no longer fading. And humanity realized they had taken their first true step into a much larger universe, by offering kindness to a stranger who had drifted alone through time. The next morning on the station, Arden stood beside the observation deck and watched Valor floating peacefully outside. The soft glow across his wings was brighter now, calm and steady like the light of a distant sunrise. The water had helped him more than anyone expected. He was no longer trembling with heat, and the cracking burns across his body had cooled. But he was still weak, still drifting like someone recovering from an endless journey. Arden placed a hand on the window glass. He did not know why, but he felt close to the creature, as if Valor was not just an alien, but someone who had walked through something no living being should ever face alone. Ryan joined him. Commander, his energy levels are stable for now. But not for long. Arden looked at the young scientist. How long do we have? Maybe a few days, Ryan said. His core flame is still unstable. He will need another small drink soon. Not much, but enough to keep the flame from collapsing again. Arden nodded. Prepare it? Not from Earth's supply. Only from the station. Ryan smiled faintly. Already working on it. While the team prepared the next small drink of water, Valor slowly approached the station window. His wings moved gently, like curtains drifting in the wind. His voice came through the translator, soft and calm. Arden, may I speak with you? Arden stepped closer. Of course. What do you need? I want to understand humans, Valor said. Why you help me? I am large, strange, and frightening to your kind. Yet you offered me kindness. Arden gave a small smile. Maybe because we know what it feels like to fear losing everything. Maybe we saw a traveler who needed help. Not a threat. Valor lowered his head slightly, like a nod. In my world, a small drink was a gift of trust. It meant peace. It meant a promise of safety. Even the smallest drop carried meaning. And you gave it freely. Arden felt a strange warmth in his chest. Then think of it as a promise between us. Valor's body glowed brighter, but not with fire, something softer, almost like joy. Later, the crew prepared the next drink. This time, it was even smaller than the first, just enough to help Valor's inner flame stay balanced. Arden carried the container himself, riding the shuttle toward the giant creature once again. When the shuttle reached Valor, something unexpected happened. Valor opened his wings very slowly, creating a circle of light around the shuttle. It was not an attack. It felt like a greeting. Arden floated forward and released the container into Valor's waiting core chamber. The water touched his inner flame and the glow spread through his body again, gentler, more controlled than before. Valor released a slow, deep breath that echoed like distant thunder. This small gift, Valor said quietly, it means more than you know. Arden smiled. It's just water. No, Valor answered. It is hope. When the shuttle returned to the station, the engineers were surprised. Valor's energy levels were not only stable, they were rising. Slowly but clearly. The creature was healing. The rest of the day, Valor remained close to the station. He talked with the team through the translator, asking simple questions that made Arden smile. What is music? Why do you sleep so often? What does rain feel like? What is the taste of snow? Every question made him seem less like a cosmic giant and more like a lost traveler learning about a new world. Arden explained everything patiently. Valor listened as if each word was a treasure. When Arden described rain, Valor closed his eyes as if imagining it falling on his burning scales. Later, the station lights dimmed for night cycle. Arden stayed behind for the last check. He walked to the window and saw Valor curled up peacefully, his wings wrapped around his body like a protective shell. His glow was steady, soft, almost beautiful. Arden whispered, "Rest well, friend." But just as he turned to leave, the AI spoke suddenly. "Commander, Valor is sending a message. Directly to you." Arden stopped and looked at the window. Valor's eyes opened slowly. In a quiet voice, Valor said, "Arden, there is something I must tell you. Something I remembered." Arden frowned. "What is it?" "When I fell into the time rift, Valor said softly. I was not alone. There were others, small lights drifting with me. Some survived longer than I did. Some faded. But I felt one more presence before I lost consciousness. Arden's heart began to race. Another of your kind? Yes, Valor whispered. A young one. Smaller than me. Lost, frightened, and calling for help. Arden's eyes widened. Is it still alive? I do not know, Valor answered. But if the rift sent me here, it may have sent them somewhere too. The command room behind Arden filled with silence. Everyone listening felt the same chill. Another lost, dying star dragon. Somewhere in space. Alone. Valor's voice grew softer. I was given a small gift by your people. A gift of hope. If the young one still lives, it deserves the same. Arden swallowed hard. We'll find them, he said quietly. I promise. Valor closed his eyes again. Thank you, Arden. For giving me more time, and for giving me a reason to keep burning. Outside the station, Valor's body glowed gently in the darkness. No longer just a dying creature, but the beginning of something far greater. Arden stood in the command room, staring at the star maps glowing across the screens. Valor's words kept echoing in his mind like a distant drumbeat. A young one, lost, calling for help. The crew worked in silence, scanning space for anything unusual, anything that looked like a creature drifting between worlds. Outside the station, Valor floated quietly, his wings folded close, saving every bit of strength. His glow was steady now but still weak, like a lantern in a storm. Arden checked on him often, and each time, Valor tried to look strong, even though Arden could see the exhaustion behind his eyes. Ryan approached Arden with a worried look. Commander, we found something. Arden turned fast. Show me. Ryan brought up a scan of a strange object moving through the outer region of the system. It traveled fast, like a streak of light across black space. What is that? Arden asked. At first we thought it was a comet, Ryan replied. But it changes direction. Comets don't do that. Arden stared hard at the screen. The glowing object zigzagged slightly, almost like it was confused, or injured. Valor's voice suddenly came through the translator. I can see it, he whispered. I can feel it. Arden rushed to the window. Valor's eyes shone brighter than before, reflecting something distant that only he could sense. That is not a comet, Valor said softly. That is a young star dragon, but it is not awake. It is burning without control. Arden felt the air grow heavier. A creature drifting alone was dangerous enough. A creature unconscious, burning like a comet, was even worse. Ryan asked carefully, what will it do if it wakes up? Valor lowered his head. If it wakes in fear, it may fire its inner flame in every direction. It is very young. It cannot control its power. Arden understood immediately. We need to reach it before it wakes. The team launched a fast shuttle with sensors and defensive shields, not weapons. Arden refused to carry anything that could harm the young creature. Valor followed behind them slowly, though the effort clearly strained him. As they approached the glowing object, Arden felt a sense of awe. The creature was smaller than Valor, only half the size, but its body burned fiercely. Its tail streamed behind it like a trail of fire. Its wings were curled tight, glowing bright like molten metal. Ryan whispered, it really does look like a comet. Arden replied, a living comet. Suddenly the object jerked, spinning violently. Waves of heat burst from it, shaking the shuttle. Alarms rang loudly inside. It's waking up. Ryan shouted. Valor's voice came through, strained but firm. Move back. Give it space. Arden steered the shuttle away just in time. The young creature stretched its wings suddenly, sending out a flash of blue fire that lit the darkness. It let out a high cry, half pain, half fear. It didn't know where it was. It didn't know what happened to its world. It was scared and alone. Valor pushed himself forward, despite his own weakness. Arden could see his wings trembling. But Valor didn't stop. The young creature turned its head toward Valor, confused. It cried again, a sharp sound that echoed in the translator but held no words. Valor spoke softly, a gentle rumble. Little one. I am here. Arden watched with his heart pounding. Valor extended one wing slowly, carefully. The young creature flinched, but Valor continued in a calm tone. You are not alone. You are safe. The young one's flames flickered wildly for a moment, then softened. It floated closer, its body trembling. Valor's voice broke slightly. I thought I was the last. But you survived. You held on. Arden felt something heavy in his chest. This was not just a rescue, This was hope for an entire lost species. The young star dragon drifted into Vaylor's shadow, curling its body protectively beside him. Vaylor wrapped one wing around it, shielding it from the cold of space. Arden whispered, "They found each other." But suddenly the young one's glow brightened dangerously. Ryan shouted from the controls, "Commander, its energy is unstable. It could explode." Vaylor spoke quickly. "It is scared. It needs to cool its flame. It needs what you gave me." Arden understood instantly. "Water. A small drink." Ryan looked pale. "But if we give too much?" Arden cut him off. "We won't." The team hurried to release a tiny container of clean water. They guided it slowly toward the young creature. At first it recoiled, unsure. But Vaylor nudged it gently with his wing and whispered in a warm, ancient tone, "Trust them, little one." Finally, the young dragon opened a small core chamber, shaking with fear. The water entered, and the effect was immediate. The blazing glow across its body dimmed softly. The fire lines along its wings calmed. The comet-like tail faded into a gentle stream of light. It let out a soft sound, peaceful and tired, like a child falling asleep after a long cry. Arden exhaled in relief. "We did it." Vaylor held the young one close. "You saved another life, humans." "Twice." The young creature rested against Vaylor, glowing softly like a sleeping ember. Arden gazed at them through the window, one old star dragon, tired but hopeful, and one young star dragon, finally safe. They looked like a small family drifting in the dark. And for the first time, Arden realized something important. This small gift, the tiniest drink in the galaxy, might save more than just 2 lives. It might change the future of 2 entire species. The station moved quietly through the darkness, its lights soft and steady like distant lanterns. Arden stood at the observation window watching the 2 star dragons drift together outside, Vaylor glowing with calm strength, and the young one resting against him like a spark sheltered by a larger flame. The station crew spoke in low voices, still amazed that something so huge and powerful could look peaceful, almost gentle. Arden felt something warm inside him each time he looked at them. He had seen many strange things in space, but nothing like this. Nothing so alive, nothing so ancient, nothing that carried hope and sorrow in equal measure. Ryan walked over with a report in hand. "Commander, their energy levels are stable. The young one is recovering faster than we expected." Arden nodded slowly. "Vaylor is helping it. Maybe it needed more than water. Maybe it needed someone who understood its pain." Ryan looked out at the 2 glowing forms. "Do you think more of them survived?" Arden didn't answer right away. He watched Vaylor gently wrap his wing around the young one, protecting it from a passing burst of cosmic wind. "We can't know," Arden finally said. "But they deserve a future. Even if they are the last 2, that future starts here." Outside, Vaylor lifted his head slightly, sensing Arden's presence. His golden eyes shone with quiet understanding. The young one mimicked him, raising its small head to look at the station. Its glow flickered shyly like a greeting. Arden smiled. "They're learning from each other." Ryan nodded. "And from us." Later, the crew gathered in the central hall. They spoke softly, sharing ideas, fears, hopes. Some feared that helping the star dragons might risk Earth. Others believed that helping them was humanity's responsibility. Arden listened to every voice. Their fears were not wrong. But neither was their kindness. While the discussion continued, Vaylor's voice came through the communicator. "Arden, may I speak with your people?" Everyone fell silent. Arden nodded at the AI to open the channel. Vaylor's tone was calm, soft, and steady. "Humans of this station, I want to thank you. Not for saving my life, but for giving me a reason to live. I wandered for so long. I lost my world, my family, my time. I thought the universe had forgotten my kind." The young one made a small sound, pressing closer to Vaylor's side. "You helped me," Vaylor continued. "And because of that I found the young one. We are not a great empire. We are not warriors. We are only survivors. And you have given us safety." Arden felt a lump in his throat. The room stayed silent, every person listening with their full heart. "I do not want your world's water," Vaylor said. "I do not want your land, your sky, or your oceans. I want a place in your light. A small place. A safe place. A chance to exist." The young one repeated one soft word that the translator turned into a near whisper. "Please." Arden stepped forward. "You have that place, Vaylor. Both of you do. Humanity won't turn away from you." Hope flickered across Vaylor's scales. The young one's glow brightened slightly. But then Arden added, "There's one thing we need to talk about." The room turned serious again. Arden looked at Valor through the window. Your inner flames are strong. If either of you loses control, even by accident, you could burn a station, a ship, maybe more. We must find a safe place for you to stay. Valor lowered his head in understanding. Yes. My kind lived near quiet planets. Empty ones. Safe ones. Perhaps. I can help you find one. Arden smiled. Then we searched together. The next few days were filled with work. Space scans, long mapping sessions, and careful tests. Valor taught the humans about the energy trail star dragons followed. The young one learned from Valor and watched the humans with curious eyes, tilting its head whenever someone waved at it from the window. For the first time since the station launched, the crew felt united. There was no fear left, only purpose. At last, a small, quiet planet was found. No life. No danger. A place with deep lakes of pure, untouched water frozen beneath the surface. A perfect home. When the station drifted near the planet, Valor spoke again. Arden. I am ready. Arden felt pride and sadness mix inside him. We'll visit, he promised. We won't abandon you. Valor's glow softened. I know. The young one made a soft chirp of excitement. It fluttered its small wings, its light playful and warm. Arden laughed gently. They're happy. Yes, Valor said. This world will be our dawn. The two star dragons drifted toward the planet, wings spreading like sails catching invisible winds. The young one circled Valor, leaving trails of soft blue light that shimmered like written words in the dark. Arden watched with wide eyes. It's beautiful, like they're writing something. The translator interpreted Valor's final message before entering the atmosphere. It is our promise, Arden. A promise written across light. Wherever your people go, wherever mine go, we meet with peace. Arden whispered, Safe travels, my friend. The two dragons descended gently toward their new world, their glowing trails weaving together. One old, one young, two survivors beginning a new story. And deep in space, the promise they left behind shone brighter than any comet.